Have you tried everything to change your life, but the harder you push, the less seems to move? Have you ever felt like you're heaving against a door with all your strength, not realizing you only needed to turn the doorknob? The truth is that achieving everything without effort is not only possible, it is the only genuine way to manifest a reality aligned with who you really are. In this video, you will discover why forcing, insisting, or resisting produces the opposite of what you want to achieve, and you will explore a spiritual science that reveals the secret behind natural, gentle, and powerful manifestations. The most incredible part is that it all begins with your attention. So if you are ready to abandon the struggle and begin to allow, you are on the right path. Leave in the comments the phrase, "I allow the best of life to come to me effortlessly," and start right now to vibrate at the frequency of flow and fulfillment. This knowledge is based on the visionary work of Jacobo Grinberg, a Mexican neuroscientist who devoted his life to investigating the connection between mind, perception, and reality. Grinberg broke the boundaries of traditional science by proposing that everything we experience is a projection of our own field of consciousness, and that the external world is nothing more than a reflection of the observer's internal state. For him, the so-called neuronal field functions like a creative womb, shaping reality according to the thoughts, feelings, and beliefs we silently nurture. According to Grinberg, physical effort, when not aligned with consciousness, creates resistance and blocks life's natural flow. This explains why so many people, despite giving their utmost effort, fail to achieve lasting results. They operate from a state of scarcity and disconnection. True achievement occurs when we cease resisting and begin allowing, when we stop forcing and learn to flow. The spiritual science revealed by Jacobo shows that the key is not to try to change the world, but to change the state of being that perceives it. And when we do that, the entire reality around us inevitably reorganizes itself. Most people believe that achieving something requires intense effort, sacrifice, and constant struggle against circumstances. This is one of the most widespread and limiting ideas of modern society. The spiritual science shows us the exact opposite. The more you try to force a reality, the more resistance you create, and therefore, the farther away it becomes. Grinberg identified that reality is not a fixed block of external events, but a direct response to the observer's state of consciousness. When you emanate excessive effort, tension, or anxiety towards something you desire, that frequency generates a vibrational field that actually blocks the very manifestation you seek. It is like trying to push open a locked door when you could simply turn the doorknob with ease so that it opens naturally. The law of non-resistance invites you to change your posture by stepping out of the struggle and entering the flow. This does not mean apathy or passivity, but aligning yourself with the energy of what you desire as if it were already on its way. When you want something deeply, yet act as if it is still distant or difficult, you affirm to the field of reality that its absence is more true than its presence. Allowing is different from desiring. Allowing is recognizing that what you want already exists in potential, and that you only need to open yourself to receive it. This is why so many people cannot sustain healthy relationships, financial prosperity, or inner peace, because they attempt to achieve these experiences from a place of scarcity, insecurity, and urgency. Non-resistance begins when you understand that life organizes itself with far more wisdom than human control can comprehend. It is like a river. If you swim against the current, you become exhausted and make little progress. But if you learn to float and let the water carry you, you move forward with ease and harmony. To resist is to swim against life. To allow is to trust the flow. By ceasing to resist, you also dissolve anxiety over results. You begin to feel peace even before the outcome arrives, and that peace is the clearest sign that you are vibrating at the correct frequency. The universe, or the creative field described by Grinberg, responds not to what you say you want in words, but to what you vibrate as your state of being. If your state is frustration, you reinforce absence. And if your state is tranquility and certainty, you accelerate manifestation. Begin today to practice non-resistance by observing which areas of your life are charged with tension, pressure, and control. Ask yourself what you are trying to force, and more importantly, allow yourself to let go. To allow is not to give up, but to trust. It is to recognize that in the invisible field of reality, everything you need is already available. All you need to do is align your vibration to receive it, and this never demands effort, only presence and awareness. There is a subtle but absolutely transformative truth that many people ignore. You do not attract what you want, you attract who you are. This declaration, supported by the spiritual science of Jacobo Grinberg, completely changes how we relate to our goals. Reality does not respond to your requests, but to your state of being. This means it is not the desire for wealth, love, or achievement that manifests these experiences, but your inner frequency. Everything in the universe is energy. Every thought, feeling, and belief you carry emits a vibration. When you experience lack, fear, or need regarding something, the field of reality perceives this as your deepest truth and responds with more scarcity. This is because the universe does not register words, only vibrations. It does not understand "I want," it only understands "I am." That is why so many people become frustrated even after long journeys of self-knowledge and personal development. They visualize, affirm their desires, work hard, yet remain trapped in a cycle of repetition. The reason is simple. They continue vibrating scarcity, insecurity, and inferiority, even while requesting the opposite. The creative field described by Grinberg does not distinguish conscious intention from subconscious programming. It simply reflects whatever is most deeply embedded in your being. If you desire abundance, you must first become a person who lives, breathes, and feels as someone abundant. This does not mean ignoring your current reality or living in illusion. It means raising your self-concept to the point that you feel worthy and comfortable receiving what you desire. Manifestation begins when desire ceases to be a need and becomes a natural expression of your being. Here comes the real power of personal magnetism. Your magnetism does not depend on how much you want something, but on how vibrationally aligned you are with it. Desiring without feeling worthy is like chasing a mirage. But when you become vibrationally compatible with what you want, you no longer need to chase it. It comes to you. This leads us to a powerful question. Who are you being today? What do your posture, your tone of voice, and your most recurring thoughts tell the universe? When you start to act as if you already possess what you desire with calmness, generosity, and confidence, the universe rearranges events to reflect this new self. Jacobo Grinberg showed that there is no separation between mind and matter. What you vibrate within inevitably materializes outside. It is not a matter of if, but of when. Time is only the delay between your inner change and its external manifestation. Therefore, if you want to transform your life, do not begin by changing the world around you. Begin by becoming someone who vibrates the reality you wish to experience. Be now what you want to live later, because that is what attracts. That is what creates. That is what manifests. There is a resource more valuable than time, more powerful than money, and more coveted by everything and everyone in this universe: your attention. Wherever you direct your focus, your energy will follow. This is precisely why the world around you silently competes for this precious asset. Companies, people, social media, ideologies. All of them want a piece of your attention because they know that by capturing it, they also capture your creative force. Jacobo Grinberg helps us understand why this happens. He states that reality is a projection of our perceptual field. Therefore, whatever you constantly observe, think about frequently, and feel repeatedly becomes denser, more real, and more present. Attention acts like a beam of light that activates any dormant potential, And in the same way, it also nourishes what should wither. Imagine your attention as an energetic seed. Each time you water it with focus on a thought, a feeling, or a mental image, you are investing your energy in the creation of that reality. The creative womb of the subconscious mind does not judge or question. It simply receives what you send, and what you send invariably returns to you as experience. Now ask yourself where most of your attention is today. Is it on problems or solutions, on scarcity or abundance, on fear or trust? Your life is a direct reflection of the quality of your attention. By realizing this, you reclaim an immense power, the power to choose consciously what you want to make real. Most people live with fragmented attention, jumping from thought to thought, from stimulus to stimulus, from worry to worry. They do not notice that they are spending their most precious currency on distractions, noise, and patterns that build nothing of value. That is why they feel tired, confused, emotionally drained, and disconnected from their creative essence. Attention must be trained like a muscle. Just as you train a muscle to gain strength, you need to discipline your mind to keep the focus on what you want to expand. When you learn to direct your attention consciously, you stop reacting and start creating. You stop feeling like a victim of circumstances and take on the role of co-creator of your reality. The secret is not to do more, but to feel more deeply what you desire and maintain your attention firmly there. This does not demand physical effort, but an energetic decision. Because everything you sustain with attention and emotion, sooner or later, becomes matter. From the moment you honor your attention as the divine currency, that it is everything around you begins to change silently, inevitably and naturally. Humanity's greatest prison has no walls, bars, or external surveillance. It is in the mind. It is silent, subtle, and often imperceptible. It is the state of collective hypnosis in which most people live without realizing it, repeating patterns, beliefs, behaviors, and emotions inherited from society, family, culture, and childhood. In this state of dormancy, the invisible programming that shapes the reality of millions is formed. Jacobo Grinberg described this condition as he studied how the neuronal field, the perceptual field that shapes our experience, is influenced by repeated and unquestioned information. From childhood, we absorb ideas about what is possible or not, about what we deserve or not, about how life should be. These ideas lodge in our subconscious as absolute truths, forming the hidden script that we follow without questioning. This hypnosis is reinforced by a powerful mechanism, the echo effect. Everything you affirm with conviction, whether aloud or internally, reverberates back to you. Like in a canyon where you shout something and hear the exact same phrase returning, life responds in the same frequency as what you emit. When you say, "I am unlucky," the universe echoes, "You are unlucky." When you repeat, "Nothing ever works out for me," that phrase becomes a vibrational command that the creative field obeys precisely. The problem is that many times these statements are made unconsciously in autopilot mode, reinforcing an identity that we no longer truly recognize. Jokes like, "I am so clumsy," or "Of course that happened to me," may seem harmless, but they are coding messages that the subconscious mind does not distinguish as humor. It simply records, engraves, and manifests. The creative womb of the subconscious mind does not judge or interpret. It does not ask if you were being ironic or in a bad mood or simply venting. It simply receives and fulfills. This is how hypnosis perpetuates itself. You live a reality created by thoughts and words you do not even remember repeating so often, but that have become the foundation of your vibrational frequency. Breaking free requires awakening. It requires mindful awareness, questioning, and consciously repositioning your words, feelings, and beliefs. Change begins the moment you decide to interrupt the echo of scarcity, fear, and limitation, and start emitting new frequencies of power, gratitude, love, and abundance. When this happens, the echo changes and life begins to return experiences that reflect your new state of being. What you say to the universe always returns to you. So start today to speak, feel and think like someone awake, conscious and creative, because the echo of your consciousness is always listening and quietly shaping your reality. Within you, there is a sacred, invisible, but absolutely real space. It is in this receptive, powerful field that all your reality is born, even if you are not aware. This is what Jacobo Grinberg called the perceptual structure, but here we can understand it as the creative womb of the subconscious mind. It is the point of reception where everything you feel, believe and affirm with conviction is recorded and manifested. This creative womb does not judge, filter or interpret. It does not distinguish truth from imagination. It simply absorbs, accepts, and transforms into reality everything you impregnate with emotional frequency. In other words, your external life is only the reflection of what was gestated in that internal space. And what is most impressive is that this happens all the time, even when you are on autopilot. Imagine that without realizing it, you keep telling yourself, "I am confused. I never get what I want. No one values me." Even said in jest, these statements are seeds planted in the creative womb, and sooner or later they will blossom not as metaphors, but as concrete experiences in your life. The subconscious mind is like a faithful servant. It will not question you or ask if you are sure you want those outcomes. It simply obeys. And this is exactly where power and danger lie, because everything you repeat with feeling, even unintentionally, becomes a silent command to the field of reality. Jacobo Grinberg understood that the mind is not a mere emitter of thoughts, but an active interface with the fabric of existence. When you repeat an affirmation with emotion, you are literally programming your field of possibilities, as if sending a vibrational code to be interpreted and executed by the universe's creative structure. The good news is that this creative womb can be reprogrammed. You can choose new words, new mental images, new feelings, and with consistency and presence, impregnate your subconscious mind with what you truly want to live. But there is one condition. You need to feel as if it is already true, not only to wish for it. Emotion is the fuel of creation. Visualize yourself living what you desire. Speak as if it is already happening, and feel the joy of achievement even before seeing it manifested. Do this daily, especially at the moments when your mind is most receptive, such as upon waking and before sleeping. In these instants, the portal between the conscious and the subconscious is open. Seize it. Everything that exists in your life today was authorized, even if unconsciously, by you. This may be shocking, or it may be your greatest liberation, because if you created the reality you live now, then you can also create a new one that is lighter, more abundant, and more aligned with who you truly are. You may wish for an extraordinary life, but if you still see yourself as someone small, limited, or unworthy, that reality will never materialize. This happens because the universe does not respond to your desires, but to your internal identity, to what you believe you are. This concept is at the heart of conscious manifestation. You only receive what corresponds to your self-image. Jacobo Grinberg demonstrated that perception shapes the world you see, and that perception is filtered by self-concept, the idea you have built about who you are. If you see yourself as incapable, unlucky, or ordinary, your subconscious mind will align your reality to that identity, not out of malice, but out of fidelity to the vibrational field you sustain. Remember that the creative womb of the mind does not question it, only obeys. That is why many have grand dreams but continue to live mediocre realities, not because they are not capable, but because they do not feel compatible with what they desire. There is an incongruence between what they ask for and what they believe they deserve, and this dissonance creates invisible blocks that silently sabotage their attempts at change. To wish for great things demands that you become great internally. This is not arrogance, but vibrational alignment. If you want a deep, loving relationship, you must see yourself as someone worthy of true love. If you desire financial abundance, you must feel comfortable with prosperity. If you seek freedom, you must assume the identity of someone who is already free. This is the real work to grow inside so that life can grow outside. The new level of reality you want to experience cannot be accessed by your old self. It is necessary to break free from the limited self-image, from the labels you accepted in the past, and from the programming installed without your consent, and that requires presence, intentionality, and above all, self-love. Grinberg shows us that reality is not external and separate, it is shaped by consciousness. So if you desire a new life experience, the first step is to assume a new consciousness of yourself. Begin to observe how you speak about yourself, how you position yourself, what kinds of thoughts you cultivate about your identity, and what you believe you deserve. The key lies in the repetition of a new self-concept until it becomes natural. The mind accepts as truth everything that is repeated with feeling. That is why you must affirm with conviction, I am worthy of the best. I am capable of great achievements. My presence is powerful. Feel these words, live these words, because the more you see yourself as that new version, the more the world around you adjusts to reflect it. Your reality will not change while your self-image remains the same. Change who you believe you are, and the universe will reorganize itself effortlessly to deliver to you what is already compatible with your new self. Most people live trying to bend reality by force of will. They struggle, insist, and pressure as if the universe only responded to those who shout the loudest or work the hardest. But there is a secret revealed by spiritual masters and consciousness scientists like Jacobo Grinberg. Reality transforms not through physical effort, but through silent internal conviction of its change. Conviction is not desiring something intensely, it is being certain that it already is. It is a conscious faith sustained by a feeling so true that the mind leaves no room for doubt. Grinberg asserted that any conception maintained with consistency influences the surrounding field, reorganizing the substance of reality until it mirrors this new internal structure. In other words, the universe obeys the clarity with which you sustain your new identity. When you try to achieve something by force, you confirm its distance, and the creative field responds by keeping it distant. But when you vibrate as if it is already part of your life, when you feel, think, and act like someone who already has what they desire, reality begins to yield to your conviction. Think of how many times you tried to change a situation through sheer effort and nothing changed. Now recall times when you felt at peace with clarity and inner certainty, and things simply happened almost as if by magic. This is not coincidence, it is the power of silent conviction. It is like a seed planted with faith and watered with aligned feelings. It inevitably grows, even if invisible on the surface for a time. The subconscious mind responds better to tranquil persistence than to anxious agitation. Spiritual science shows that change does not begin outside, but inside. Conviction is the initial movement of consciousness that echoes outward, generating events. It is like tuning the dial of an antenna. When you align to the right frequency, the signal comes through clearly. There is no need to force, only to maintain the tuning. This is the secret of people who manifest with ease. They do not try, they live as if it already were. They do not constantly ask, they give thanks, trust, and breathe as if they were already there. This deep trust does not come from external promises, but from the recognition that the creative field is always listening, always shaping, and always responding. Therefore, practice conviction. Choose a new identity for yourself. Feel it every day, especially before sleeping, and affirm in silence, I am. There is no request, only recognition, because the moment you truly believe, the universe has no choice but to respond. Now that you understand the invisible laws that shape your reality, the question remains, will you continue to try to conquer by force, or will you choose to conquer with consciousness? What has been revealed here is not just inspiring knowledge, it is a living, practical method you can apply. You hold in your hands the keys to transform your life effortlessly, simply by changing your state of being, your attention, your self-concept, and above all, your inner conviction. Do not wait for ideal conditions. Begin now, today. Choose an affirmation that represents what you wish to live. Repeat it with emotion. Visualize yourself already living that reality. Feel it as if it were true. And before sleeping, enter that state with calmness, confidence, and presence. This practice, if done consistently, will change not only your days, but your entire existence. If this content touched something inside you, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share this video with someone who also needs to awaken to this power. And do not forget to leave in the comments the phrase, "I allow the best of life to come to me effortlessly." Let us spread this frequency together. Your transformation has already begun. Now just continue. The universe is listening.